say Shot City. Shot City. Shot City.
Welcome to the Second City Sports Chat. I am your host, Ryan Ebner, alongside Dan Frigo and Pete Argus. We're based out of Chicago. We will discuss Chicago sports. We'll also touch upon other big news going around the sports world. Let's talk about it. Let's get right out to it. The 2013 Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks had a dominating regular season, a dominating postseason, finished it off in Game 6 against the Boston Bruins, another outstanding team. Patrick Kane won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Pete's boy over here. 9 goals, 10 assists in the playoffs. An outstanding playoff series. Can't take that away from him. Another guy, though, that I believe really should have won the Conn Smythe and really pushed his name out there was Corey Crawford. He had an outstanding postseason and regular season as a goalie. 16-7 in the playoffs, so shutout. .932 save percentage. Outstanding. Kane did acknowledge it. Guys, talk about this Blackhawks season, and what do you think? And how are you feeling about it?
Well, obviously it's a great year. The World Stanley Cup.
Yep.
I feel like Kane improved a lot from a couple years ago because the perception was that he's soft, and a lot of people still believe that. But I feel like Kane playing in Europe and stuff like that really helped during the lockout, and I feel like it really showed this year because he had a great regular season and obviously had a great playoffs to win the Conn Smythe.
I just feel, they did such a great job this year, and they're such a young team. They're really fast. They have good chemistry. You see if they come down, they're down a couple goals. They just come back, kick right up, and win just like Game 6 of Stanley Cups. I mean, Game 6, 1-2, 2-1. With like 4 minutes left, and then you come back 3-2, win the Stanley Cup. I mean,
17 seconds, yeah.
Exactly. It's just how it happens. You just get that chemistry real fast. I think they just had a great year.
I think they did too. I think it's there will be some people that will talk about the shortened season and all that. I think on a shortened season, personally, it's harder. You have less time off, less time to practice, and you're playing a lot. And hockey's a physical game. It takes a big toll on your body and on your mind. So I think they had a great year. Obviously, won the Stanley Cup, best team in the league in the regular season. And they showed it. But they won the President's Trophy, but they showed they deserved it by finishing it and winning the Stanley Cup. Today was the NHL draft. Chicago with the 30th pick. They drafted Ryan Hartman out of West Dundee, Illinois. Chicago kid. I like the pick. I think it's something good to build on, especially because they're gonna make a lot of wheeling and dealing that Scotty Bowman's gonna be doing. So, what do you think about the pick? And do you think you can see him anytime soon on the ice in United Center?
Personally, I don't think right away. I don't think he will be. He's just brand new person. A young kid. I don't think it'll take maybe a year or two. I'm not sure exactly how long, but I think eventually he will get to play. Maybe after they make a couple years they trade. Maybe I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but anytime soon, I don't think so.
I feel like he's got a chance as long as because with the couple deals that the Hawks have done today, and I just feel like with Saad and Shaw both coming up, like from being drafted a couple years ago and already making a huge impact, I feel like he's got a good chance to play in the near future at the United Center. And I like that they were comparing him to Shaw because everyone likes Shaw.
He's a big fan favorite now after the epic picture of him bleeding from his cheek and stuff.
Yeah. Hoisting the cup, that was just a great picture. And that just shows, epitomizes Chicago with the toughness that he showed in that game.
Yeah, Chicago today, not only did they draft Ryan Hartman and a couple other guys, they made a couple of deals. One that I think we all were very aware that it was going to happen. Dave Bolin traded Toronto. We didn't know where he was going to be traded, but we knew he was going to be traded. Trade Toronto for the 51st pick today, the 117th pick today, and next year's 4th round pick from the Maple Leafs. Obviously, a move that had to be done. He had a clear cap space. Bolin, besides the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup, he was really quiet. He's really banged up this postseason, so I think the deal is a good deal. Clear cap space. But a deal that did throw me off was the Frolik deal going to the Jets for the 74th pick and 134th pick this year. Do you think that deal will hurt us in the long run, help us, or how do you feel about it?
I think it's definitely going to hurt short term because he was great penalty killer. Can't speak. And I feel like he brought a lot to the Hawks in terms of toughness, and he had that big goal against Detroit on that. What game was that? Was that game
4 or 5?
Or no, was it 6?
Oh,
yeah,
6,
game 6. They had that big goal, and I feel like they're gonna lose short term. It's gonna hurt them, but I feel like with the way that Stan Bowman does, I think he'll find a replacement for him.
Yeah, I feel like you know how you said. I feel the same way. You know, short term maybe, but you know, in the long run, Nick's not gonna kill him or anything like that. You know, yes, he's a good penalty killer and all that, but yeah, that's why I don't think he'll do too much after a while.
Well, they did do these moves to clear from cap space, and indeed they did. Brian Bickle today had an outstanding playoffs, 9 goals, 8 assists in the playoffs. Really came alive in the playoffs after a quiet regular season. He signed a 4-year deal today, so we got B-Rod back for a while. Good move, I think, for the Hawks. Good keeping him going. I hope he has whatever he did in the playoffs this year. I hope he can carry that over to next year's regular season.
Definitely.
The parade was nuts. The rally and all that. 2.5 million Blackhawk fans out there supporting our guys, showing them what it's like and what a real hockey town looks like and the way we celebrate. Clearly the players celebrate a little early.
Well, Crawford shows you know.
Crawford's speech was outstanding. That really sums up Chicago sports for you.
Quote of the moment.
Yeah. That was awesome. It was great to be in attendance there and get to experience it. This Blackhawks team had a lot of great things. Opened off the season 6-game win streak. Set the record for most games without a regulation loss. Outstanding. They finished 36-7-5. Looking into next year a little bit. Obviously, no moves have really been made yet, except a couple of trades. It's very hard to repeat. We saw it in the NBA. Miami, it was really tough for them to do it. Hockey, now you will have a full season, more time to rest, more time to practice, more games, everything. Will the Hawks repeat next year?
I think it's really tough to say because they still got to make some more deals and stuff like that. But they do have their core, and they're going to be up there in the Western Conference and in the whole NHL for the top record. It's just they had a couple of breaks go their way. I mean, they were 1 game away from losing to Detroit, and I just feel like what you said, like what Ryan said about Minnesota. I just feel like with the group that they had, if they would have had more time together, maybe a full season, they would maybe been a stronger team. But in the NHL, it's the toughest sport to repeat, so it's going to be tough for them. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it.
Well, the last team that did it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the Detroit Red Wings in 96 and 97 was the last team that did it to repeat. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, honestly, Blackhawks, yes, they won Stanley Cup, and they'll carry that motivation until next year. But, it's like pressing the refresh button, every team refreshes, comes out with new players, comes out, strong. Mm-hmm. So you can't really say, just because they won this year, they can do it again next year. But, I'm not going to say they can't, say they will. But, I personally feel like it's possible. But that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's gonna be obviously very tough. And like I said, Minnesota, with Parise and all of them, I think they just needed more time under their belt to really get familiar with each other, make some moves, get some other guys in there, and really just pick it up. I think this is a weird season, obviously, because it was short. Doesn't take anything away from what the Hawks did. It's outstanding, and to do it in a short amount of time is very, very impressive. Hockey's a physical sport, and it's outstanding that they did that.
And then I just feel like another thing that's going to be tough is it's a lot different when you're the defending champ and when teams play against you. Like, it was a lot tougher for LA this year because they weren't the under-the-radar team and that little team that got through the playoffs and then stormed through. It was just, it's different because you're going to have the bullet. Everybody's going to be gunning for you. Right. And it's a different mentality.
And I felt somewhat the Blackhawks had that a little bit on their back this year because of winning the President's Trophy. Not many teams can win the Stanley Cup after doing that. So I think the pressure was on them because they were the best team all season. There's no doubt about it. They played great, and rightfully so, they won the Stanley Cup. I think they were the best team regardless. I think Boston was the best team out of the East. They deserved to be there. It wasn't a fluke or anything like that. That's a strong, tough team.
Oh, God,
they did a good job.
Especially after the Penguins.
Right, they swept the Penguins, something that I don't think anybody saw coming. Outstanding season for the Blackhawks, though. Thank you for a great year. We hope to see what you guys can do next year for us. We'll shift to the baseball fields. We'll start with the north side of Chicago. Pete's beloved Chicago Cubbies.
Yeah.
They are 35-45 this season. Only 10 games below 500. Not too bad, actually. Pete, and well, Dan too, and everybody, we'll talk about this a little bit. What do you think? What are your opinion on how the Cubs have done thus far? Are you happy? Are you not happy? Pleased? Whatever. And what do you think needs to be done for this team to keep going, and what they're going to do in the second half?
I feel like this team is about. I mean, I may be expecting them a little bit better, but that's because I'm a Cub fan. But I feel like there's a lot of games they could have won, but I feel like as a team they've definitely gotten better since the season started, which is obviously great. And I feel like it's going to be training season pretty soon. Theo was in Seattle, so I don't know if he's like getting ready for a deal or something like that. But there's reports out there that Garza could be traded soon.
Probably looking at renovation ideas.
Yeah, probably. Well, he should. It's a beautiful field.
Yeah.
But Feldman's probably another guy that's going to be gone. They only signed him to a 1-year deal, and he had done exactly what they wanted him to in terms of play great, and if we're out of it, we can trade you at the deadline and get some prospects out of you. And obviously the name that floats around pretty much every year, it seems like, is Alfonso Soriano.
This is the year to do it.
Yeah, he's got, was it like 1 or 2 years left on that huge deal that they signed with him, and he might not have the numbers that would be like for a trade bait, but he gives you that leadership, and as a DH, just this past weekend, he showed that he can do it.
Yeah,
so,
that's a big thing, I think, for them, is that if you can show that you can play a DH, because that's really, I think that's all he's got left in his career to do, is just continue to play DH. I don't think he's an outfielder anymore. So I think that's good. A lot of American League teams will deal with him. And the Cubs, a lot of young talent. A lot. You're seeing it. Rizzo's, picking it up, getting stuff done. I think a lot of the guys off the Cubs, you weren't expecting it, whether it was Bobasevic or Nate Scherholtz.
Yeah, Scherholtz is another guy that might get dealt, but I really like Nate. But it's really showed a lot of promise when he actually gets a full-time role.
Yeah, I think this is a team that definitely 3 to 5 years or so, this is a team that's going to make a push for a pennant and be up there with those NL Central elites that are in the top 3 right now.
Okay.
Dan, looking at the Cubs, what do you think their second half outlook is going to be for the season?
Right now, I honestly don't think it'd be too great, but I mean, to me, I'm actually a little surprised this year how they've been doing so far. They've been doing, pretty good, not too bad. And like you said, I feel like also that they will, in the next few years, in the future, they will, start pushing and getting better and better, going to the top. And, you got some talent, they could use that, trades too. And, I feel like the second half will be actually not too bad.
Yeah, I think the Cubs are doing pretty well. 35-45 isn't great, but for where the Cubs people thought they would be at this point, they're doing really well, staying above the cellar there. So I think they'll keep that up. I think they'll finish ahead of the Brewers.
And they need some wins. I want to see them, start winning some games.
I think a lot of people in Chicago would like to see the Cubs be strong again and make a push for the playoffs and go for that pennant.
It's looking bright.
It is bright future,
yeah.
definitely. We'll shift to the gloomy south side of Chicago.
So sorry.
It's rough, guys. Sox 32-47 this year.
Great record.
Yeah. Not too hot at all. Actually, you're ice cold. Very underachieving team, I think, this year. As a Sox fan, I think as any baseball fan, actually, when you're a team, you start the season, you are expecting of the team. If you're not hopeful that your team can make something like some big thing happen, then why are you rooting for them? I personally believed that I thought the Sox could make another push at the division. I did. It's the same team. You're bringing them back. I thought they could make a push. They have deeply, deeply, deeply proved me wrong. They're just bad. I mean, your pitching's not on good. They're not playing well. Your hitting sucks. Your bullpen sucks. It's terrible. I think this is the point of the season where it's a fire sale. You got to get rid of everybody. Don't fire Chris Sale. Please don't do that. But just get rid of everybody else. If your name's not Sale, Reed, or Konerko, consider yourself getting ready to get out the door. We don't need you anymore. We need to trade you, build these prospects up, and let's get this team rolling again for the future. Pete and Dan, Especially Pete. I know you're not a Sox fan. Obviously, we've acknowledged you are a Cub fan. But what are your take, as unbiased as you possibly can be,
Okay.
on the Sox?
I feel like they have to build a definitely stronger minor league system.
Yeah, they're one of the
So-
worst in baseball.
Yeah.
God.
Because Kenny, what he likes to do is he likes to make deals at the deadline and try to win it. Just a great example is Euclid last year. So, I mean, I don't really know the prospects he gave up or the guys he gave up, but like, it just seems like every year that's what they try to do is try to go for that 1 year. And they don't really try to build anything. And I feel like this year they should just learn to let's just try to build something and then start up because the future. I mean, Konerko's getting old. I mean, their team is a lot older and it's not looking good.
Right, I mean, you look at these guys, these teams like St. Louis and even the Cubs and the Rays and the Pirates. All these teams, especially St. Louis, your championships. Yes, some championships can be won in a Yankee way, where you just buy. But the White Sox don't have that type of cash to do that. Not really any baseball teams do anymore. You gotta build and win. You win from within. If you build up your prospects, and you have something to look forward to for the future. I mean, we have a couple of guys down there that are promising. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they dealt them just because that's the White Sox way. But you got to just start to build, start to rebuild. You're not going to have that season like you did in 2005 where you shocked everybody by winning it. Yeah, it was a shock, even for White Sox fans. It was a shock. It came out of nowhere. You had a bunch of guys that, I mean, if you were to go back and you look at that pitching staff, it's not the pitching staff that now you would say, wow, that's a World Series winner, or even a lot of those players. But it did. I think this is the time where you got to rebuild and just move on from there. Accept the fact that you're going to suck for a while. It's all right, and just move on. Look at the Pirates. They sucked for how long? Look where they're at now. First team to get to 50 wins. Outstanding.
Yeah, wow.
Hats off to them. I'm glad to see it. I like to see teams like that come out of nowhere and pick it up. Second half outlook for the Sox, guys. What do you think?
Well, especially from the schedule, there's no hope for them to do anything good.
Tough.
Yeah, I kind of like what you said, they kind of build and they just stop. And then, they stop for 1 year and they just, keep the people, and they need new people. And personally to me, their hitting just sucks.
Oh, it's bad.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
And they really need to find a new plan. I mean, look at what these other, good teams are doing, especially Pirates, all that, what do they do when it changed it? I mean,
They're building, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it takes time to rebuild a team like that, especially in baseball. But it can happen, and then you're bright for a long time, and you're not just bright for a year and then you fade out. And I think that's been a lot of teams' problems, is if you fade out too quickly. Yeah, one great year is great, but the teams that matter are the teams that can build dynasties.
mm-hmm.
And you have to really build from within to do that. We'll switch over to the basketball courts, talk about our beloved Chicago Bulls. Just had the NBA draft not too long ago. Bulls had the 20th pick in the first round, and they took Tony Snell out of New Mexico. I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think about the pick, and how will he fit in with this Bulls team?
I love the pick. I think he epitomizes the Bulls. He's 6'7", and he is lengthy, 6'11" wingspan.
Big man.
Yeah,
People.
very lengthy, and he fits right around with Jimmy and Dang what they want. He's a shooter. He comes off ball screens. He does a great job. So, and that's one of those guys that you're going to need to help out Derek next year. Is a guy that can come off screens, kind of like what Korver did when they had Korver a couple years ago. And I believe that his weakness they were talking about was his defense, but with a guy of that height, that kind of wingspan,
Right.
if you want to just
Right.
teach him
Oh,
to
God.
play defense like Tibbs can, I feel like this will be a great pick for the Bulls.
I feel like he'll be a good fit for the Bulls. They need new people. But, when I was actually, read about him, I was really surprised, when from New Mexico. His first year, he kind of benched a lot of it. And then when Philip McDonald was hurt, and he came in, did okay. Then his sophomore year came in, the guy was injured for most of the year. Came in and just started being the dominant scorer for the team and being that 3-point range guy. And that's what I like because, we can use that in the Bulls team.
Yeah, it'd be nice to use for Derek to be able to have somebody to pass the ball to and know he's got another scorer with him. That's one of the toughest things for a point guard or anything like that. When you ain't got nobody to pass to that can constantly hit shots. That's been something the Bulls been lacking here for a while, and hopefully this is the guy that can really build on it. We shift to the Bulls here with them, and looking at next season, it is confirmed Derek is 100%. He's ready to go for this upcoming season. This Bulls team was a really pleasant surprise this year. I mean, when it got to the playoffs, you beat Brooklyn in 7, and then you really, besides one game against the Heat, you fought hard for 4 out of those 5 games. They fought real hard, and that was with Noah banged up, Rose obviously out, and everybody's banged up.
Surprised me, so.
Right. Pete, I'm going to throw this one to you first. Looking at the Bulls, what do you see them doing next season?
I feel like next season is kind of like in limbo year. Like, yeah, they're going to try to compete for a title, but I just don't feel like the pieces are there. They're missing that one. They thought Boozer was that piece. I don't know if he is. I mean,
he's too old for to be the piece anymore.
I don't see it. So they're going to need another 4 to go along with this group because that's all they're missing.
We know who you want.
I want Kevin Love. I want him. I want Kevin Love. I mean, but it looks like what you said, LaMarcus Aldridge is out there. So Gar or John Paxson, let's make a deal. All right, let's get LaMarcus Aldridge here. We drafted him. He was a Bull for about 10 minutes. Then he got traded for Tyrese Thomas. Great pick.
You are fired up right now.
Right?
Oh, God.
But
Pete wants the Love Shack in Chicago. Let's go. Let's get him here. Let's get it done.
Hey, him and Derek work out together in California.
I got bromance.
Yeah,
Hey,
bro.
why not? We'll pick and roll with that. Pick and pop. I can see it. With Noah, that'd be a great front line. So next year is kind of a big year for Derek because there's a lot of doubters out there questioning him last year, not coming back. So I expect a big year from Derrick Rose next year.
I feel the same about Derrick Rose, but I think the team itself, they're not just going to come out and explode and, because Derrick's back or get new people. I feel like, it'll be like a nice refresher, like startup year, get out there, but I don't think in the next year they're just going to, come out and just, make it all.
No.
I feel like it'll take them in the next year or two.
Yeah. I think, like Pete said, they're a couple pieces away, really, from putting into a championship team. It's great that you could compete with Miami. It is. They're one of the few teams, I think, in the NBA that really match up well against them and give them a fight every single night.
It's always a great game to watch.
Right, and I think if with Derek this postseason, if he was healthy and you could have had him in there, I think that series would have came down to the wire. I think it would have because they just play him so well. But it's tough to beat a guy like LeBron when Derek doesn't have anybody to give the ball to. It's tough. As we're staying on the NBA subject, let's talk a little bit about it here. There's a lot of talk going on right now with free agency and the draft. There was a lot. First pick of the draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers, not Nerlens Noel. Nope, threw everybody for a curveball. Anthony Bennett out of UNLV.
Yep.
Pete, I want to ask you a little bit here. How are you feeling, and what do you think the Cavs can do with a guy like Anthony Bennett?
I think Anthony Bennett could be a solid player for him. He's not going to be a franchise changer like Kyrie Irving or Derrick Rose or LeBron. But I feel like he can be a solid player. It's just with the first overall pick, you expect the guy to be the guy for your city, and Anthony's not going to be able to do that, I don't think. And I don't think there's many players, even in this draft, that can be that guy.
Agreed.
And
Weak draft.
Yes. And they were looking for trades, just it never happened. So, I mean, I think Anthony can be kind of like a Luol Deng. I mean, I'm not saying he's the same type of player, but he can be a solid player, not a superstar, but a solid player that can help a team.
Yeah, I think this draft, you look at it, I don't think anybody wanted to make a deal because really no one wanted to take the bullet there and say, yeah, I'll draft this guy first. Because there was no clear first-round pick. Nerlens Noel, if he didn't mess up his knee, maybe he would have been. Maybe. But I think that scared too many people, and he ended up falling down to the Pelicans, I believe. Then they traded him real quick
Of course.
to the 76ers. There was a lot of trades in this
Makes
draft.
sense. A team that actually looks pretty good is New Orleans now, with the trade that they got with the Noel and then
They get Drew Holiday, right?
Like how they got Drew Holiday, I feel like that's a great move for them. Maybe with Anthony Davis, that could be maybe a playoff team maybe next year.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see that. Yeah, you look at some teams like Minnesota making moves. They drafted Trey Burke, right?
Yeah.
And then they dealt him real quick to Utah.
Yeah.
For a couple of picks that they ended up taking. Yeah, a lot of guys switching hats throughout the night.
Yep.
Different drafts. So.
Yeah, it was a different draft. Like he said, there was no clear number one guy, and that's something that we haven't seen in a long time. I think in the last 10 years or so, where coming into the draft, there wasn't like, wow, this guy, at least one or two or three are going to be huge
It's going to be a
picks.
game changer or anything.
And we talk a little bit. Free agency just started here a little while ago, and it's been crazy already. Chris Paul signed a deal with the Clippers, right?
Yep.
5
year,
years.
107 mil. So he's gonna get paid.
He is
40
staying in
mil.
Lob City, ladies and gentlemen, with
Yeah.
Doc.
Yeah. Speaking of Doc, how about the steal that Brooklyn got from Boston?
What a terrible move, Boston.
Oh my
What
God.
a terrible week for you.
Jesus.
Lord,
I mean,
guys.
they gave up the two guys that are gonna be two retired numbers.
Right,
5
for nothing.
and 34
Nothing.
for nothing. You got what did you get?
Gerald Wallace.
Humphreys. I mean, okay, they gave up a couple like first round picks. They gave up 3 first round picks, but it's like you're giving up 2 guys that are going to go into the Boston Sports
Isn't
like, Hall of
Boston
Fame.
still going to pay Kevin Garnett's salary, too?
Yeah, and it's like ridiculous because not only is it,
Oh my god.
not only did you deal him, you dealt him to a team.
You got to play.
Yeah, in that you don't even like. Like, why?
I don't know what Jay-Z did there
Yeah.
to pull that one out of him. But
Maybe he gave him a
Foreman
couple
look-
free records. I don't know.
maybe give him some Rockaware. I don't know.
know.
But, yeah, Brooklyn. But, okay. Brooklyn now, it is pretty much for sure. It looks like they are going to get KG and Paul
Yes.
Pierce with Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Brook Lopez. The fact that you let them keep those 3 is ridiculous, Boston.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Okay.
What do you think with this Brooklyn Nets team? What are they going to be capable of? Can they compete with the Heat with that team?
I feel like they can, but some guys are gonna have to learn. You're not gonna get your numbers that you normally get. Like I feel like a
But
big
these
guy.
2 from Boston,
Yeah, like
in particular.
the big guy. The key to this whole team is gonna be Darren Williams, because because that's the weak spot of Miami, and I feel like if Darren Williams maybe. I mean, he's done this in the past because he played with a really good Illinois team, and he sacrificed his numbers for that team. I feel like if he can sacrifice his numbers and get Pierce and Johnson and all these Garnett, and if he can get all these guys their numbers, they'll be fine. But I just think at first it's going to be really weird because there might not be enough basketballs for this team.
That is going to be a problem. It's going to be all about putting your ego aside to win a championship. Some of the Heat had to do. They did. I think that first year with the Heat team, there was a lot of egos in play. Not even just players, coaches as well. And they really, these past 2 seasons, buckled down and said, listen, this is not Dwayne Wade's team. It's not. He's
Nope.
struggling. He's hurt. He's banged up. He's not playing like Dwayne Wade. This definitely isn't Chris Bosh's team. He didn't even score in the last game of the finals. What a disgrace. But it is LeBron James's team.
Yep.
All he needed when he was in Cleveland was something like this with other guys. Maybe they're not going to score a lot of baskets, but they fear you to think that they're that you have to cover them. You can't just put 3 on LeBron. You can't with that team.
Yep.
Because if you leave any of them open, they're going to score. And that's what LeBron needed. This is his team. And can we say it? Are they going to do a 3-peat? Can they be the Bulls?
They got a good chance, but
I think Brooklyn really pushed themselves into it to top.
Brooklyn definitely, but I feel like they're still the best team.
Yeah,
I hate to say it because I love Jordan, I love the Bulls, but it's that if you think about it as a whole, NBA is not really that great. It's really it's very top heavy. There's not many good teams out there. In San Antonio, I don't know how they pushed them to 7 games. They're seconds away from winning a title, but they were sold. I have no idea how they had any. I have no idea why they were even in that series.
Well, they pushed it.
Yeah.
I mean, they scared them. Yeah, I think the Heat are still a great team.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Dan, do you think the Heat are going to get anywhere? Are they anybody going to dethrone the Heat?
God, man, like you said, there's really not good teams. Brooklyn Nets. I mean, I challenge them, but nothing, take anything away from them. I mean, they're just everybody on that team. They always just everybody that has something to do, and they.
A very interesting scenario and if this man goes to certain teams, he could really help them push past the Miami Heat. That is Dwight Howard.
Dwight Watch.
Yeah,
Dwight Watch right now.
The Dwight Watch. Stay D12, stay. Not the group. You can stay too. We like you. But
I got something for that.
but Dwight Howard. You know, I'm sorry, Los Angeles. He's not going to stay with you unless he goes to the Clippers. Maybe that would be your only chance of him staying in LA, playing at the Staples Center. He's not going to wear purple and gold. He can't stand the way the Lakers are going. It's not a good system for him.
Nope.
It's not a good system for Kobe either.
Kobe, come to the Bulls.
Yeah, come to the Bulls. We'll take it. No problem. That would really push the Heat a little bit because the Bulls already play him strong as it is. But yeah, Dwight. Couple of teams. Houston's one of the teams out there.
Houston. Okay, Houston actually is currently meeting right now with Dwight
already.
Because
free agency just started.
Yeah,
we're just kicking in
already. Wow.
Yeah, it just starts. July 1st it starts, and Houston already has a schedule for him. And next day, he's already got a next day planned. He's going to meet with Dallas, not only with Cuban, but Dirk's going to be there too.
Ooh, look at
so
Dirk.
Dirk's going to talk about the future there. So that's
I
two
don't think
Texas teams.
I don't think that Dallas team with Dwight is going to get too far.
No, I don't believe so.
I think Houston would have a better chance of getting farther with
Harden.
Yeah,
Be a good team.
James Harden, good stuff. Yeah, tough stuff out there. Poor LA, just couldn't even get KG and Pierce to go over there with them. All they got was Doc. But
I just think that's embarrassing that they had to put a sign up because when is for Dwight? Because when is the last time you had to put a sign up for someone to come to LA? People want to usually come to LA.
Like, no one wants to deal with that.
Like it's just weird. I mean, Kobe tears his Achilles. It's like it's been downhill ever since. And depending on the year the Lakers have, they could be losing 24. I don't know what team, but they could. It's going to be really rough for them this year, especially because the Clippers got Doc. I mean, Clippers going to have a really good year, so.
Yeah, they're really not the Lakers are not the best team in Staples Center anymore.
No.
We will backtrack ourselves a little bit. Go back to the ice. Today was the NHL draft, as I touched on a little bit earlier, mentioning the Blackhawks pick. But the Colorado Avalanche did have the first pick in this year's draft. First time I think they've had it in a while. They drafted Nathan McKinnon. It was the junior hockey league he played in this past season, I believe. He played 44 games, 32 goals, 43 assists. Scouts from the TSN, they were saying that he was the second guy on their list. Number one was Jones, who he fell fourth to the Predators.
Yep.
Which
big shock.
Outstanding for the Nashville Predators. Big shock for everybody else. Big moves there. We talked about the NBA, the Boston Buffoons making that terrible trade, but Vancouver.
Boston Buffoons. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Vancouver. All right.
Oh, that's not right. Tell us what's on your mind.
Vancouver Canucks traded young goaltender Corey Schneider to the New Jersey Devils. Now, the day before, or a couple days, last 2 days before the draft, a lot of talk about Vancouver, about Edmonton making a lot of moves. They had a lot of picks. They wanted to do them. They were willing to give pretty much everything but the kitchen sink for Corey Schneider. They need a goalie. They were really making the push for it. In the end, Vancouver says, no, I understand they're in the same conference as you, and you don't want to deal with Corey Schneider. Fine. Vancouver already is having issues because Roberto Luongo pretty much at one point decided that this is probably it for him. He was going to test the free agent market. But now I guess after this movie he's in shock, doesn't even know what to do. But they did make the deal, and they did get rid of Corey Schneider to the New Jersey Devils for only the 9th pick. That was it. You were only able to get one pick for this kid. He was 17, 9, and 4 this past season. Vancouver kind of doing the whole Blackhawks thing with Emery and Crawford. Mm-hmm. Not as successful, obviously, because he didn't win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
what a shock.
He ain't no Emery.
Yeah, he ain't no Emery. That's right. Or Crawford. He had a great season, though, for sharing time with Luongo. And all you get is a 9th pick? Jesus, guys. I swear, these GMs need to get slapped upside their head. They did draft Bo Harvard with it. Good fit for Vancouver. I like him. I think he'll be a good goal scorer for him, but Jesus. Terrible, terrible, terrible trade.
I think they could have done with some of both teams here, All you have to do is one pick.
Right.
They really, honestly, what they're giving you, they really wanted him. you could have worked out on both teams.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there should have been way more involved with it. He should have gotten a lot more for him. And a lot of people said this is a guy that he could be a really, really good goalie. You know, I don't know if he'll be up there with the likes of Quick and them, but pretty damn good. We go to the Diamonds again. This is for some big baseball shockers this season. I'll get this. I'll start with this. Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles, 31 home runs. Pete, testify for me there.
I think it's a big shock. Not only in Baltimore, but a lot of people in Texas are like, why couldn't you do this here?
Exactly.
Was some big buzz in Texas. They were looking for the power there, and obviously he showed the power to Baltimore, and Baltimore is having a great year because of it. Only a couple of games back in Boston, and yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be an all-star, and with a crowded first baseman that are in the AL, he's had the best year of all of them.
Yeah, outstanding season. Another guy who has been in the lead a little longer, or not a rookie at least, Max Scherzer from the Detroit Tigers. First pitcher to get to 12 wins, 3.10 ERA. Great season for him so far, and for the Detroit Tigers, unfortunately.
Right.
He's having pretty good though. What do you see from him and Chris Davis really heading into the second half?
Well, I feel like Davis is having a great first half. Home run hitters as of recently are kind of streaky. They might have a good first half, but maybe falter. I don't see him hitting 60 home runs.
No, I don't either. No.
So
That'd be insane.
I mean, if he hits 50, it's a great year for him. I feel like Scherzer, the guy was such a great prospect for Arizona a couple years ago, and they traded him to Detroit because he was not developing at all. But he has dynamite stuff, and he's finally found his niche in Detroit. And
because they really needed it. Another great player.
Now they have a great 1-2 punch with him and Verlander.
Terrible. Great for Detroit, though. Right. Glad for you guys. Yeah, let's talk about some young kids, though. Young kids. One of my personal favorites out of the great state of Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Brewers. Shortstop Gene Segura playing outstanding this season for a team that... Where'd Ryan Braun go, guys? Where'd he go? Well, he's going to be going home because he's going to get suspended for 50 games. And Gene Segura, thank you very much. You have stepped up for the Brewers. You're still in last, but you know what? You're doing it classy. Gene Segura batting .327, 11 home runs, 32 RBIs. He has been the guy that Milwaukee's like, wow, where'd you come from? Thank you. Came out of the same, same class as Harper and Trout and Machado and all of them. And all four of them have been doing great. But Gene Segura really throwing a curveball at you. There are some people that might be listening to this that don't like Gene Segura. But I'll tell you what, he's outstanding, and I consider him that he's going to pick it up in the second half. Give me your take on Gene Segura.
Segura's having a great first half. What's even more impressive is the lineup that's around him, which is
trash.
Awful. They've been hit by a lot of injuries. Ramirez is just starting to get back. Hart's out for the year.
Go figure.
Braun's has so many question marks.
He'll be incarcerated soon.
Braun has so many question marks, steroids.
MVP.
Yeah,
he sucks. Sorry, guys. Love you, Braun.
But he's having a great first half. It's tough for a young player to keep that the whole entire year, so I expect him to fall off a little bit. But I still think he'll be around the 300 mark hitting.
I kind of feel like he was the quiet guy, like compared to the other people in the group he was in. He was a little underrated, but I feel like he's doing okay. But he's not gonna, in the first half he's doing fine. I'm happy with him.
Yeah, I am too. I think the second half. Listen, if he finishes above a 330 average at the end of the season, great year for you. Good job. Way to give something the Brewers to look forward to, because I think they kind of have somewhat of the same issues as the White Sox when it comes to farm systems. Or if they do have young talent, you're not seeing it very often up there. But yeah, not doing too bad. But here's a guy from Hollywood who been causing a little bit of a ruckus with the All-Star game and whether he should start or not. Yasiel Puig. He has only played 26 games so far this season. In those 26 games, he has 44 hits. 7 of those are home runs, and he got 16 ribbies. He's batting .436 though. The debate is, should he be allowed to play in the All-Star game? He hasn't been here very long, but should he? Because he's doing a damn good job for LA, and he's really sparked them. Do you guys think that Puig should get in, and what's your take on what he's doing so far?
Personally, me, yes. I mean, for how many games he's played, that's outstanding. I mean,
Right.
But All-Star, I personally think I don't think he should. I don't think he deserves it. I think there's other people in there. I mean, I understand that you said before, people get in there, they're injured just because they're fan-based people, they get in there. But to me, I feel like he has the experience to get in there yet. I just feel like,
Yeah.
I'm with Dan. I don't think he should get in.
Dan's the man.
Thank you.
With the plan, guys. Here we go.
He hasn't played many games. He's having a great average. People love him in LA, but I just feel like if he wasn't in LA, if he was playing for like San Diego or like another one of these like small market teams, like maybe the Twins or something like that, I don't think he would get the notoriety that he gets for playing for the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, playing in LA definitely helps with that. I think I agree. If he was on a small market team, you wouldn't see as big of a thing about him. But nonetheless, what he's doing in this short amount of time is remarkable. It is. I think he should get in just because he's added a big spark to that LA team. Touching on that, both LA teams have sucked this year. They have really disappointed their fans. I mean, I'm not an LA fan, but as a baseball fan, really disappointing to see a team when you go out there and make those moves. It's a struggle. But Puig, I think he'll get in. I think he should get in. I understand both of your points of that he hasn't been there long enough. I do understand that. But we'll shift instead of just talking about players that have shocked us. Talk about teams that have shocked us, good or bad. The Pirates, first team to get to 50. They are 51-30 this season. Pete, your NL Central rivals, kicking ass, taking names. What do you think about it?
Well, it's really about time. I knew it was coming. They've drafted really well the last couple of years, and looks like they have a really good starting pitcher in Garrett Cole coming up. I feel like it's kind of scary for the Cubs. I mean, this is a bad time for them to get young and to try to develop because you got St. Louis, who's always good, and now you got Pittsburgh, who's developing these young players and only going to get better, and you got Cincinnati, who's always up there. So it's a tough division for the Cubs to be in, and Pirates are doing a fantastic job. They're doing clutch hitting, great pitching. I kind of just hope they can hold on to this, and it'd be great for baseball.
Yeah, it was actually what you said, because, the past few years, Pirates have not been a great team. And it really surprised me, this year, 'cause 50 wins. I mean, first time, for a team where they came from the past few years, is great. It's outstanding. I like what they're doing. I hope they keep it up.
They're on pace to hit 100 wins for the first time since 1909, maybe?
Wow.
1908, something like that. It's been a long time. I saw it. A long time since they hit 100 wins. They're on pace for that. And you're right, it is good for baseball to see teams like this are finally brightening up. Another team that's brightening up is Cleveland. Now, both these teams, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, mind you, last year did the same thing. Got real hot first half, fell apart. I don't believe Pittsburgh will fall apart this time, but let's look at Cleveland, who is tied for first place in Detroit. Do you think they can hang on and take that division?
I don't know if they can. I don't know if they're going to have the pitching to back it up, and there's a lot of guys that are having really good years, but I just don't know if they have like the power that Detroit has, and just Detroit has a lot more experience of being in this types of situations. I just feel like Cleveland's having a really good year, but I don't know if they're really gonna take over a division like the AL Central. But they got a good chance, maybe for a wild card, but it's gonna be really tough, barring any injuries to the Tigers, for them to overtake them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Tigers, with Scherzer and Verlander and Fielder and obviously Cabrera, tough team to beat. And like you said, I don't think Cleveland's got the pitching to handle it. They can't. Listen, your pitching can look real good against the White Sox all at once, but listen, the Tigers are a totally different team. So I think you got guys like Swisher and all of them hitting well, but I don't think they can hang on for it.
I don't think they're ready.
No.
Detroit's just too strong.
Right. You shift. I'm going to go and we'll go through here with each division. tell you who's in first, and who do you think they're going to stay, or what team do you think will end up finishing with the division after the season's over? Starting the AL East, Boston. That's a surprise too. Boston actually playing really well, playing Boston strong actually. They're 50-34, 2.5 on Baltimore. What do you think is going to happen?
I think both teams are very close, and I feel like the trade deadline is going to tell everything. Whoever gets the big move or doesn't make a move, it's going to depend on who takes that division.
Boston, just good team. All the time, they've just been a really good team the past few years, and I just think they're just going to stay in first.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I look at it, I think Boston's been a pleasant surprise this season. Some people thought they were going to struggle. They've done really well. I think Baltimore definitely is definitely, if they can keep it up and they can make, like Pete said, the trade deadline is going to show you a lot because Baltimore could really need some pitching, and you can knock on Pete's Cubbies' doors for Garza.
They can take some of your prospects.
They are willing to get them, and that would really help them out a lot. Let's go to the AL Central, Cleveland or Detroit. I know we already talked a little bit about them, but at the end of the day, at the end of the season, who wins the division?
I just don't think Indians are ready just to go with Detroit for the division. So that's what I think so far.
It's simple, just Detroit. Just move it.
Okay.
It's going to be Detroit.
Yeah, we got some fun here with it. You know?
Well, I mean, I just feel like, I want to say Cleveland, but I just feel like it's going to be
Maybe we should
Detroit.
get your girlfriend here anyway. See what she wants about it.
Well, she might
Oh, yeah,
leave
remember.
Cleveland, but I don't want to tell her. But it's not going to be Detroit.
Okay.
We'll go to the AL West. It's a battle between two teams. I mean, the Angels are kind of in there, I guess. Not really. Texas is leading by a half game over Oakland. Who do you think at the end will have enough gas and to continue and push and win this division and get to the playoffs?
I like Oakland.
You like the story of Oakland a lot.
What story?
That they're just a different team to get in there. You see Texas in there every damn year.
No, I just feel like Oakland has a better pitching staff. And I feel like
Bartolo Colon
coming
out of nowhere, 11
Yeah, I just feel like Oakland has a better pitching, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
And I feel like Texas has lost too much over the last couple of years, and I think it's just going to show down the stretch.
Okay.
I agree with that. I could see Oakland winning it. Texas is just. What's the point of getting in there anyway? Because they're not going to win the World Series because they never do. They get in there and they can't finish the job. That's okay though. Like you got rid. Losing Hamilton I think was a big deal, but if you look at it, it's not hurting them really at all because he's struggling really bad in LA. But yeah, I agree. I think Oakland will end up taking this and winning the division.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
We'll shift over to the National League. Start the NL East. The Braves are on top. Do you think the Braves hang on there, or do the Nationals make somewhat of a push?
I feel like Atlanta's got a lot of big guys, with Upton obviously having a terrific year.
Both, yeah.
Justin
in particular.
I'm going to talk about Justin.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like that division's kind of wide open. I don't know what it is. I like Atlanta, but I'm not as confident with them. But then I don't want to pick Washington because Strasburg struggled. It's just
Harper's hurt.
It's hard to pick that division, but I guess I don't like the amount of times Atlanta strikes out. But I just feel like Atlanta's the best team, and I think that they're going to be able to hold on to that division.
I feel like the Nationals. I don't know why, but to me, Braves just don't seem to always give to me. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I could see either team winning. I think, like you said, the Braves got a lot of big names, and they're really performing well for them. And the Nationals have been banged up, with Harper being hurt and Strasburg underperforming. Second half of the season will tell what will happen. I think it's going to come down the wire, and I would really like to say the Nationals because I think with Strasburg, if he's kicking in the full gear, I think that could be a real scary team. But I think the Braves have built up enough cushion here a little bit. And that they're just so strong. Unless something happens to Upton or something, I think they got that division. We'll go to the NL Central. Pirates are the hottest team right now in baseball. I think they've won 9 in a row now. They've played outstanding. They're in the lead by 2 games over St. Louis, but Cincinnati ain't too far behind, only 5.5. Playing out the NL Central at the end of the year, who wins it?
It's simple. It's the Cubs. Is this a joke? This is a joking question.
We're Cubbies!
Okay, no, but seriously, St. Louis is going to win.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care where St. Louis is right now. I feel like Pittsburgh, obviously, not going to win the rest of the game. I mean, they can't do that. Like, that's not possible.
Mhm.
So, I just feel like St. Louis, I like their front office, and I feel like they're going to make a deal that could put them over the top. And, I don't know, I just feel like the Cardinals are the best organization, maybe in professional sports. So, I feel like the Cardinals are going to take the division. But I do believe that the Pirates are going to make the playoffs. I feel like they're going to get one of the wildcard spots, but I feel like St. Louis will take the division.
All right, yeah. St. Louis is an outstanding team every year, and just what I feel like just the Pirates do how they're playing so far. I just feel like they'll keep it up, keep it going, and I just feel like that they'll take it.
Yeah, as a baseball fan, I love to see teams that usually don't get into it. Like, I really wish the Royals would do something. I wish. That'd be awesome. Pittsburgh this year is that team for me. As Baltimore and Oakland were last year. St. Louis is a great organization, and there's no taking that away from them. They're always up there. They always compete really, really well. But I think this year luck will shine on the Steel City because I don't think the Steelers are going to do that great this year. But I think the Pirates are going to take that division.
I think it's just nice to see different teams.
yes.
It's just, it keeps you more excited.
Right.
Makes you push for something new.
Right, I agree. We'll go to the NL West. It's wide open. I mean, the Dodgers are only 4 games back. Arizona's currently in the lead, but it's wide open. Who wins the NL West? The team above 500, I guess.
I believe so.
Maybe
Yeah.
you never know.
That's a tough division. It's really shocking that the Diamondbacks are leading. They really.
Corbin's played really well for
I mean,
them.
when you look at their roster and you're like, what? And then you look at
LA, you're like, oh, what are you doing wrong?
I know. But I don't know what that is. But I think Arizona, just if their pitching can keep it up, I feel like Arizona's got a great chance just to hold that division. Unless LA can make a really good deal, I think Arizona might be able to hold on to it, just based on pitching.
Yeah, I was going to say Arizona, too. It's just LA. They're just...
Struggling.
Yeah,
Struggle
very
bus.
bad, yeah. I just don't think...
Wow. I think it's hard to just look at LA and what they've done, and because a lot of people expected a lot from them with Greinke and Kershaw and Kemp and all. Kemp, hurt again. But, yeah, Arizona's a really cool team to see, and Paul Goldschmidt dominating, doing a great job at first base for them. Patrick Corbin, pitching great. I love it. Like to see it. I think Arizona, it's going to be, I guess, whoever can survive the longest. I think Arizona takes it, though, in a close one. I think it's just because of what you said, Pete, pitching. Let's shift a little bit to the NFL. NFL just did their top 100. Not to the surprise of anybody except maybe the Aaron Rodgers lover, Pete. Adrian Peterson did take number 1, rightfully so. 9 yards away from breaking the record for most yards in a season. That sucks. But did play great. I think the top 3 were AP, Peyton, and Megatron. Pete, make a case for Aaron Rodgers. Why 6 wasn't justice for him.
Okay. Well, yeah, 6. But back to the Adrian Peterson thing. Just so you know, that Packers defense did not allow him to break that record, but they did give up 100 and something yards to him. Okay. So, but still, we didn't let him break the record. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't have a problem with AP being number 1. Great year, obviously. Megatron should have been second for the year he had. Third.
He broke a record, too.
Yeah, another guy broke a record. Calvin definitely is 2. Peyton, I don't even know why he's 2. Okay. That's based on past. When I watched him this year, I wasn't like, oh, that's Peyton Manning. I feel like Aaron and Brady are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Manning should have never been second. I don't like the way he played in that big playoff game against Baltimore. I feel like, I don't think he lost the game, but I just feel like,
No, that whoever called that play on defense lost that game.
yeah, but I still feel like he's not the second best player in the NFL. Maybe that must be based on past.
Yeah, the players, they ask the players and they fill it out. And I think a lot of it had to go with the fact that coming off that major neck injury and
Yeah.
what he was able to do. No, hats off to him for doing what he did. But yeah, you're right. He's not the top. He's not the second best player in the NFL last season. No. Coming into this year, I think it is AP Calvin, and I would say Aaron. I think Aaron is the third best player in the NFL. Outstanding. But yeah, I don't agree
Just
with
to
that.
say, Green Bay, it's not just because AJP didn't get the 9 yards. It's because he was hurt, not because Green Bay. Alright.
I don't know. He was a little banged up, I guess.
Yeah, so,
I mean, you have to carry the whole city of
Hey,
Minnesota
you know
on
what?
your back.
It's week 17. Who isn't banged up?
I know. I agree. I'm not
Right.
taking anything away from him. I think Green Bay really dug in there and really way to stop those 9 yards, boys.
And plus, I think Calvin should have been a little higher up. I mean, honestly,
three,
breaking
yeah.
those records too, and then kick Peyton, like you said, Peyton. He didn't need to be up there.
No, I didn't.
Aaron
Think
Rodgers
I didn't think he had a Peyton Manning like season. No.
I think just because his pass is what kind of kept him up there too.
He had a good year.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. He
oh,
did.
He
yeah.
did the Broncos. I mean, they're a lot better than they used to. So
You know what? He didn't win a playoff game with the Broncos, but you know who did? Tim Tebow.
Don't even get me started with that. Tim Tebow.
yeah,
Hey, there's your new starting tight end for the New England Patriots.
I think that was a good. I mean, do you think that was a good place for him to land?
Yeah,
I mean, now that Aaron Hernandez is going to jail.
Yeah. I mean, you were thinking about this. You're like, oh, hey, Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, Florida connection. It's gonna be great. Wait, okay, maybe Florida, like,
Maybe for a correctional
yeah.
connection, Lord. He can come in there and read his Bible verses to him
Yeah.
when he's sitting
It's
there
not
for
gonna
life. Anyway, Lord. Chicago Bears did a couple of things this offseason. I like the Bush. Sorry, Pete. I did like the Bushrod pickup. I did. I thought it was good for him. I like drafting a lineman, but the lineman they drafted was Howie Long's kid, right?
Yes,
I think he got picked.
very questionable.
Yeah, he got picked way too early. He was drafted by the White Sox before, so that's cool. All right, like him a lot. With the Bears having the training camp starts here in a few weeks, do you think what the Bears are going to do?
I feel like this is gonna be a different Bears team than what you've seen in the past. In terms of, it's not gonna be defense oriented. It's gonna be offense, and it's gonna be weird because you're gonna see a defense that's gonna struggle, unless a large amount of the defense is gonna be on their pickup of DJ Williams. DJ Williams is gonna be a key to it because Urlacher, people might have said he went down the last couple of years, but he still kept that defense stabilized. So I just feel like with the new head coach, now that Lovey's gone, he's going to be more offensive, and I expect Marshall to have big numbers, Color to have big numbers in terms of touchdowns, and also interceptions this year. But they're in a tough division. I don't know. I'm thinking around the 500 mark maybe with this team for next year.
I just don't think. Like to me, it seems like the Bears either they're okay or they just do bad, or they start out good and just die in the end. It's like this year. After the Texans, they're horrible. They actually play good teams then. But I mean, depending on the division or where they're playing next year is just to me honestly how I think it plays out. They play good teams. I don't think they're going to do any good.
I look at it and the Trestman thing. That's another questionable move by the Bears and Emery, but I think they're gonna be a good team, and like you guys said, it's a tough division. I think they're gonna be alright. I think they're gonna be above 500. I see a 10-6 record for them. I see a playoff push.
I mean, wild card.
I see a wild card. I think, hey, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. If a big guy goes down for Green Bay or something, that's Bears got it. I think it'll be all right. I think it's gonna be rough, but I don't know.
I'm on the quarterback.
Okay, the second best team in that division is hands down Minnesota. There's no doubt. Yes.
No, because you still have Christian Ponder.
Yeah, you still have Christian Ponder, but you add Greg Jennings. You have a good offensive line. You can have whatever kind of weapons you want on the outside, but if you can't block anyone, you're not going to be able to do it.
I agree. That is the Bears' Achilles heel is the line. It sucks.
It's
fine.
a big part of your team.
I know, but I just don't think Minnesota. That's really tough.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah, we will. We'll get close to the NFL. And we'll have our NFL special. And we'll break that down.